Hey everybody, welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler, and this is Mardu Pyromancer. So this deck is a little bit outside of my comfort zone. I don't necessarily play sort of grindy mid-range decks like this a lot of the time, so this is kind of new for me, but I'm excited to give it a shot here. So this hand is pretty decent. I'm not sure what our opponent's up to with Basilisk Collar, but I do know that I can Faithless Looting. Now, Faithless Looting isn't great in this deck, but it does power up Bedlam Reveler pretty well. So we can definitely discard a land here. I guess probably a Kolaghan's Command as well. Like I said, Faithless Looting is kind of a necessary evil in this deck because it powers up your Bedlam Reveler so well, even though it's not really that great, right? It's sort of card disadvantage, and we don't get as much value as we want out of the graveyard. So that said, it does, it does do its job and makes this pretty cheap. And our hand is pretty good already, especially against Leonin Arbiter type exploits. I say that as we obviously need to fetch and can't. Okay, well, that's fine. We'll probably end up having to path this thing, but it might be all right. I do feel pretty good about this matchup in general, though, just, thinking this through when your opponent leads on Leonin Arbiter, because our deck is pretty well situated against creature decks. I mean, look what we're working with here. Kolaghan's Command, Terminate, Path, and Bedlam Reveler to refill after that. This matchup feels like it's going to be A-okay for us. We are going to have to path this stupid thing, though. I went ahead and took the 2 damage from it there, because if he plays a Mirran Crusader or something that I really need to path, we can do that. It's in all likelihood we're going to path Leonin Arbiter, but it's worth, at least not giving away the information there. Now we certainly want to go fetching. Looks like we can just fetch out a mountain probably here and have everything we need. Okay, so this is currently going to cost, it doesn't actually give me a handy thing, does it? All right, so 1, 2, we have 3 in our graveyard. Okay, I'm just going to pass here, I think. Hold up Kolaghan's Command. Not too concerned with the Ether Vial. Our opponent's obviously playing, Death and Taxes here. But it's only got 3 cards in hand and plenty of lands, so the Vial I don't think is going to matter that much. So hopefully we'll just Kolaghan's Command to destroy a creature and get the Basilisk Collar. Well, there's the Mirran Crusader I was worried about. All right, well. Well, we're going to have to find an answer to it before it kills us. But I may as well, I think, destroy the Basilisk Collar and make him discard. No, definitely don't want his thing to have first strike and death touch. But we should be able to get a relevant card out of our opponent's hand here. And we are building up to this Bedlam Reveler, and Mirran Crusader does not have protection from that. In fact, I think we can cast Bedlam Reveler here. I'm not convinced I want to, but we could. Depends what we draw. Our opponent's in the tank here on this discard, so that's pretty good for us. Raven Inspector hits the bit, huh? Okay, another Bedlam Reveler. Let's see. Okay, so I think we may as well start off with a looting here if the plan is to end up on a Bedlam Reveler. So, well, there you go. I guess we pitched Terminate and Inquisition here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a 2-mana Bedlam Reveler now. Unfortunately, our mana doesn't quite work out where we can Inquisition and Bedlam Reveler. I'm tempted, I won't lie, I'm tempted to just Inquisition our opponent. The fact he tanked, and I think I'm going to, because the fact he tanked on that discard from the Kolaghan's Command means he's probably got a hard decision. It's probably a path or something. Yeah, there you go, it's a path. So I think it's worth taking a hit for 4 here to not just immediately get our Reveler pathed. Yeah, I mean, taking the hit for 4 is no good, but we'll also be able to immediately use what we draw off the Bedlam Reveler. And we get value out of the Inquisition, because that was, the only way we were ever going to get value out of it was right there. So, I'm just going to draw the Lightning Bolt. The Dream. And when we've seen 18 cards, we are due to have a Lightning Bolt. Yeah, that's exactly how this deck wants to work. You cast a bunch of spells, Run both players out of resources and cast a really cheap Bedlam Reveler to draw 3 cards. That's pretty good. I would say things are looking up here. We also have Faithless Looting in our graveyard to cycle away any bad cards we have from here on out. But go ahead and fetch out a Mountain here. We're in the Pyromancer out there. I would say we're in a pretty good spot right now. Next turn we can flashback Faithless Looting, grow the Bedlam Reveler, make the Pyromancer, start going off, and we're going to see some more cards here. Our opponent has one. They drew Path for their turn. I would like to use that ability. We'll get our Swamp out of here. Yeah, well, you know what? Here's where Faithless Looting's good. It wasn't great on turn 1, but here in this late game where we don't need any more lands and don't necessarily need things like discard spells, it's actually a pretty nice draw. I'm going to go ahead and flash one back because there's no drawing 2 and immediately discarding those same 2, not so good. But at least this way we get some choice out of the matter here. The flashback to Faithless Looting is always better than the one from hand. All right, so I can keep Path, or I can just Swift Spear our opponent. I'm going to be honest, I don't think we need the Swift Spear. I think I want to keep the Path so we don't lose to something weird. All right, get on in there for 4. Obviously, we could have just played the Swift Spear there and been super mana efficient and gotten damage. But I think we don't want anything weird to happen, and Path keeps anything weird from happening. Whereas that Swift Spear can randomly die to the Day of Judgment or something our opponent probably shouldn't be playing, but could be. There's just no telling. We have plenty of things on the field to end the game. I know that. All right, let's go ahead and Inquisition our opponent here. All right. Flicker Wisp. Oh, there you go, Mirror Crusader. All right, you got a Sheffet dude. So, okay, so we will just Path the Mirror Crusader. And that's why we kept it. And we'll get on in there for some damage now. Could flashback a Faithless Looting here just for the trigger. Not worth it. Not when we have lethal on the board, right? We have exactly 8 on the board right now, and our opponent has a Sheffet Dunes in hand and 1 draw. So I think we're pretty safe right now. Mirror Crusader is a problem. I'm glad we had. We do have plenty of answers in our deck to it. 4 Lightning Bolt, couple Lightning Helix, Paths. All right, let's Thoughtseize our opponent. Figure out real quick if their last card is anything relevant. It is. It is relevant. All right, the Bedlam Reveler has been pathed. I have nothing left to fetch. Fair enough. Guess I'll lose 2 life from this Thoughtseize. No reason not to just get in for 5 here. I guess we don't really need to. Well, the thing is, Thoughtseize prevents us, running our team into a Mirror Crusader or whatever. So yeah, it's obviously not good against the Path. Just attacking is a good way to find out if he has anything too. But Mirror Crusader is the one we wouldn't want to necessarily suicide into. And he does have that Ether Vial sitting on 3. I'd say things are looking pretty safe here, though. Opponent basically would need a board wipe or something that they don't have, so I would say we're on to game 2. Here we go. Instep Flicker Wisp on Young Pyromancer, I suppose. Okay. Sure thing. Still have lethal, though. Because we have 4 tokens and you have 1 blocker. The cool thing about Instep Flicker Wisp is Flicker Wisp actually returns the exiled card to play at the beginning of the next Instep. So if let's just say an Instep, in this case his Instep, he uses Flicker Wisp on our guy, then our creature doesn't actually come back until our Instep, which is a pretty nice. way of removing blockers there. Okay, so I kind of like Collective Brutality, I won't lie. I like Anger. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like... I mean, our whole deck's pretty much good here anyways, but I kind of like Brutality because killing his Leonin Arbiter and, you know, taking a path from his hand is pretty good. I mean, frankly, our deck is just pretty great against them. I'm going to board out a couple Faithless Floatings here. Probably can get by with one less Kolaghan's Command. We need to make one more cut. We're on the draw. I'm just going to get rid of a Swift Spear. I think we're the control deck here. We're not the beatdown. So we don't necessarily need that, right? We just want to kill everything our opponent plays and win with whatever we end up winning with, which would, you know, probably be Bedlam Reveler or Young Pyromancer or Lingering Souls or what have you. But one way we can lose is to draw a bunch of, you know, spells that don't interact well enough with this board, which is where Swift Spear sort of falls into. You know, it's nice when you play against decks you need to put pressure on, but in this matchup, we're definitely not the beatdown. And I guess I'll explain for anyone who doesn't know while we're sitting here waiting. Who's a beatdown refers to a really old Mike Flores article, really old, right? I'm talking like 20 years ago, that basically just sums up how you approach a game of Magic. Are you the person who needs to win fast, or are you the person trying to make the game go long? And obviously there's a lot of complexity to it that I can't get into, and while I'm, you know, resolving mulligan decisions here. But essentially what it comes down to, I don't actually know if this is a good keep, we'll see. Bedlam Reveler is pretty nice. What it comes down to is it's just so good for determining what you want, and it, you know, it applies to everything. It applies to your sideboarding plans. It applies to your deck building. It applies to the lines you take and the attacks you make. You know, but in this game, in this matchup, for instance, we're clearly not the beatdown. If the game goes long, that's good for us and worse for our opponent. So that's what we want to do. Is we want to, you know, play the cards that make that happen. All right, so we get a... This works out pretty well. Our opponent has a Vial, but we do get an Inquisition something away here. All right, so... Ooh. Uh-oh. Well, I guess the plan... Oh, no. Okay. Good thing we have Anger of the Gods. That's our plan for beating Worship, I suppose. All right, I'm going to take the Flicker Wisp here, just so our opponent can't beat us down. The Gideon will be a problem. That's a thing. We need to draw lands, obviously. I don't think I'm that scared of Worship. It obviously can seal games, especially with Gideon, which is very, very good one in the matchup. But overall, I think we're probably okay. We obviously need to hit land, though. That was not exactly a land. Well, okay. If our opponent found his fourth land and gets a Gideon us here, we're probably just going to die. Unless, you know, our opponent gets greedy with it and starts attacking and we draw a white land to path it. Okay, well, our opponent did not find the... Okay, well, I've got a clue. They haven't found their fourth land yet. I'm not going to bolt the Thraben Inspector because we might end up having to double... We might have to bolt Lightning Helix here to this stupid Gideon. Yeah, still can't Lightning Helix with that. Can't do much with this, as a matter of fact. Costs 4. We have 4 of the 8 mana for this. Maybe I should have mulliganed down to 5. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at it. One of the things I've heard a lot of pros talk about is you look at hands, and a lot of people might be scared to keep this hand because if you don't draw a white, you're going to lose. But on the other hand, you know, the thing I've seen the pros say is every hand needs something to go right for it. And if you have cards that are good in the matchup, specifically good, you know, you can have all your colors, but not have the key cards in the matchup and lose. So, you know, in this, I feel like we have cards that are super key in the matchup. We have Bedlam Reveler and you know, plenty of removal spells, right? That's everything we want in this matchup, but we do need something to go right for us, and that is have mana. And on a Mold of 6, I'm frankly pretty okay with this keep. Maybe I should have bought him the Lightning Bolt. That's a more interesting argument, but... He wants to hit our Blood Crypt, huh? That's fine. And I'll bolt the Flicker Wisp. Alright, we'll get a land back on our next turn, whatever. Alright, here we go. White land off top, please. Ooh. Thoughtseize is perfect. Taking that Gideon. Double Worship, double Path to Exile, and Gideon. That was a clutch Thoughtseize right there. All right, that's pretty good for us. Get our land back. I will not pay 2 life for it. So we're getting beat down, but we're getting beat down by a Thraben Inspector here. And it's also worth noting at this point, we now have 6 of the 8 mana for our Bedlam Reveler. So if we can... all right, well, that's a pretty good one. I can still need to draw land. We got plenty of turns, at least, you know, current board state. All right, there's our white mana. So I'm just going to Lingering Souls here. It's unfortunate I have to shock myself, but it is what it is. Lingering Soul's worth it, I think. I mean, we're going to take damage anyways. You know, this is going to save us 2 life by blocking the core Firewalker. All right, so I'm going to leave it in my graveyard for now. I think the plan next turn might be to path the Firewalker, maybe? Maybe I might just try to double block the Firewalker here and see what our opponent has to do about it. I mean, we're obviously building this Bedlam Reveler, but we want to get as much value out of the cards in our hand before we get there. You know, because to discard 3 good cards, to draw 3 new cards with Bedlam Reveler, not exactly the dream. All right, well, I'm going to double block this because if my opponent wants to trade it for 1 Spirit Token, that's great. If he wants to path it, that's great too. So, kind of an awkward attack from our opponent there, but I'm happy to just trade off the Spirit there. So next turn I can flash back Lingering Souls and still Lightning Helix or pass something. Yeah, there's an Inquisition. Perfect. Okay, so let's Inquisition. My opponent still has not made a 4th lane drop, so his hand's got to be great. Got to be, well, or not. Or it's double Path Ether Vial, double Worship. All right, we'll give it a path out of here. Flashback Lingering Souls. Attack with a Spirit. Definitely not inclined to path to exile the core Firewalker. It's certainly okay against our deck. You know, it blanks a lot of our spells, but it's also just a 2/2 against our Lingering Souls deck. Not exactly the dream for you know, the core Firewalker player here. All right, so after flashing the back, we have 4 spells in our graveyard, so it currently costs 4 for Bedlam Reveler. That's fine. It's kind of weird because I want to play it, you know, for the value, right, or just to have something on the board. But at the same time, I don't really want to path this core Firewalker. I don't really want to do anything. That's kind of the thing. I'll just swing with 1. I want to maintain the threat of the block, make our opponent choose to path us. If you know, we could just run out a Bedlam Reveler, but our hand is too good. You know, we have everything we want here. We should be able to answer anything our opponent has. Something like Gideon's obviously the worst by far, but we can Helix to knock down the Gideon and then finish it off with Spirits. So, all right, here we go. We got something. A Selfless Spirit, huh? Okay, I'll just terminate that thing. The red removal, you know, no big deal running it out there because anything we have to worry about has protection from red. So this Path to Exile is the one to hold. All right, so what's 4 mana that you're viling in response to the Terminate? I won't lie, I don't know off the top of my head what the Death and Taxes deck plays at 4. Oh, Arresto Angel. That's pretty good. Do I Helix the stupid Selfless Spirit? Maybe. I don't really want my opponent to... I mean, anything we do to kill Restoration Angel is going to get countered by Selfless Spirit, so we may as well just get rid of the Selfless Spirit while we can. We can path the stupid Angel if we need to. And then reload our hand. This is all taking place on our opponent's Incept, which is also good. And we get a little bit of life, which is not irrelevant. Our opponent's popping off with the life gain from Core Firewalker. Alright, now we're talking. Alright, so we're going to play the Young Pyromancer. I believe I can pass the turn here. Flickerwhisp does not have flash, so we can just pass the turn, path the Resto Angel, at some point. And I don't think our opponent can save it. One, we might actually know what's in his hand, right? There's 2 Worships and a Path to Exile, so we'll actually do nothing here and let our opponent go to Path the Pyromancer, at which point we will respond by pathing the Angel. So Restoration Angel can only blink non-angels, so nothing he has over here is actually a threat to stop our path, so I may as well just path on his upkeep. Oh, I already let this resolve? What? Whatever. Wasn't quite aware it had resolved already. Did I click? I must have just clicked through it on accident like a dummy. Oh well. We're out 1 token that can't attack through a Core Firewalker. I think we'll be okay. I almost wish this deck had Planeswalkers on it. That's kind of what I wish we had. Alright, what is this for? Oh, the Worship has arrived. Okay, that's fine. Alright, now we'll path the Angel in response. We'll just kill all of our opponent's creatures. That's how we'll deal with this stupid Worships. Alright, our opponent has 1 card in hand and it's a Worship. So, and we're about to refill with Bedlam Reveler. So all we have to do is kill a stupid Core Firewalker at some point this game, and we have Fatal Push and Paths to do it, and, obviously get our opponent down to 0, but I would say things are looking pretty good for us here. Yeah, that's something I wish I could draw later, but not to be. Alright, let's see what 3 cards we can draw. Our hand was good, but those are good Magic cards. Alright, I'm not going to mess around this time and miss my trigger. And Faithless Looting is not a bad follow-up. Obviously our hand is good, but it's still a nice card to filter, right? If we draw a couple blanks as the game goes on here. Alright, we've begun to whittle down our opponent, who is sitting with a Worship in hand. So I would say that this is pretty solid for us here. I'm happy to start racing the Core Firewalker right now. Alright, 5 mana. Uh-oh. Or is he just 4 mana? He's just playing the other Worship? Yes, he's just playing the other Worship. Okay, just tap too much. That's fine. I agree. I'm going to have to kill all the creatures this game. Oh, another Ether Vial. Sure, why not? I won't counter any of your stuff. Alright, so I'm just going to loot here. This stupid Core Firewalker can block our Bedlam Reveler, but... Alright, so we'll just pitch these 2 lands. And get on in there with the Spirits. Yeah, having the Anger of the Gods here is pretty good, too, for the long game. Yeah, our opponent has 1 creature and Worship. So that'll keep him alive. At the same time, I'm not super concerned about it, but we do have to sort of... we're going to have to answer more creatures this game. So having the Anger of the Gods is good. Even, obviously kills a lot of our own stuff. It's more like, it's the final thing we do to kill with the Worship out. We also now have a Faithless Looting in the graveyard if we draw cards we don't want. Now he's coming on in here, huh? We're racing. I'm in. It's an interesting attack. I wonder if he drew another Well, okay, so he likely drew a Flicker Wisp or something. There we go. That's a nice Fatal Push. All right, I'm going to attack with the team here. There are a couple options, right? Either our opponent has Flicker Wisp or Restoration Angel. I assume Restoration Angel is more likely, which means maybe I don't attack with a Pyromancer. But I'm going to Fatal Push the Core Firewalker in response to whatever he tries to do to save it. And Restoration Angel can't do anything but eat a token. There's a little bit of a transparent attack there, yeah. Alright, we will respond by Fatal Pushing the Core Firewalker. And yeah, now the Restoration Angel can't block our Bedlam Reveler. As a matter of fact, we can also Lightning Bolt the Restoration Angel after it does block. Because our opponent has no cards in hand. Yep. So I might as well bolt it now to get an extra point in with the Bedlam Reveler. And that should pretty much clean things up. All right, opponent falls to 10. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How convenient. Opponent has to top deck a creature here to survive. If it's not a creature, we have won the game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I think we're good to go here. So our opponent can vial anything in, so I mean, I guess we can respect it. I may as well flashback Faithless Looting. For a multitude of reasons. You know, it gives the Bedlam Reveler prowess, gets a token if we end up deciding to crash a team in, and we might draw a removal spell or something here. Yeah, we did know that. I'm going to pitch a Faithless Looting in a land. And just move to combat. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, it's just whether or not I want to slam the Pyromancer in there, and I may as well. Our opponent could be bluffing us, right? If he has nothing, then I should just send the team in. And if he has something, he has something, and we still have plenty of tokens and so on. Yeah, Leon and Arbiter. That's not going to be quite good enough. See, we force it into blocking, so it'll trade with the Pyromancer here, or it'll block it'll eat a guy. That's fine too. All right, that puts our opponent down to 1. And we'll just pass the turn. All right, so our opponent found the creature to survive. Now the question is, do we anger the gods away our own board to try to kill him or not? Hopefully we actually draw like a discard spell or something so we can sort of figure out if that's a winning line or not. Ah, bring it on in, huh? Okay, that's fine. I mean, he's right. There's no reason not to. In fact, there's no reason for me to not block either. Alright. Flashback the Faithless Looting here. Alright, I actually want to hit a discard spell off of this, I think. Yeah, there's a discard spell. Although I guess actually that doesn't even matter because because we can't anger the gods and do that this turn, but I will keep it for next turn so we'll know if the way is clear. It also leads me to not even want to play it. Right, so, but this should, and there's no reason to attack with anything here. I didn't even really need to play that Swift Spear, but. Alright, so next turn we get to Thoughtseize our opponent. Yeah, this is the game we have to play here. I think we're out of faith. Ooh, we did hit something. Yeah, we're out of Faithless Lootings. Okay, well, good. Those are things that die to anger the gods, and this is why we brought Anger of Gods in for the matchup. So now, as long as it's not a Resto Angel, basically, I think Resto Angel is the only thing that yeah, I definitely shouldn't have played the Sorcerer. It was kind of dumb, but it probably doesn't matter. Anything but the Restoration Angel, I think we beat. And our opponent's actually casting stuff, so the game's over. I did all this line where I wanted to make sure it was safe and find the Thoughtseize and everything to do it, and then our opponent just tapped out anyways, showed his hand. All right, so we'll Anger the Gods. It will destroy everything on the board, even if he crews in response. Yep. All right, so we'll beat the double Worship. Worship very good when it's good, but not the... Yeah, sometimes you just kill all the creatures, huh? And Bedlam Reveler will survive. All right, so we did it. We got there. That was a weird game. It's certainly a bit of a challenge to play against Worship in sideboarded games. That's a real thing, but I said our deck was playing control. We were not the beatdown. We wanted to kill all the creatures, and that's what we did. There you go, Mardu Pyromancer, taking it down. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mining Modern. Thank you for watching, everybody. Let's give it another go.